Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our military is strong because each member pledges loyalty to the Constitution, not to a specific president or a political party. And in return, military service and promotion are not tied to a political party or personal loyalty. President Trump threatens that political neutrality with no explanation. He has fired the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff and the Chief of Naval Operations. Secretary Hegseth has purged top military lawyers and called for removing, quote, woke generals. Former defense secretaries have called this a, quote, new political standard for military service. So, Mr. Tada, if confirmed, you would be the defense secretary's principal advisor on personnel matters. You've already made your views clear. On November 2024, you posted on X that a, quote, must do, close quote, for the Trump administration will be to, quote, review every four-star appointed by Biden and thank many for their service before firing them. Mr. Tada, what evaluations did you do for each of the dozens of four-star generals and admirals to convince you that each of them needed to be fired?
Hey Patriots, welcome back to Right View Nation. I'm your host, and today we're diving into yet another perfect example of the left's relentless attacks on anyone associated with President Trump. By now, you've probably seen the viral clip of Senator Elizabeth Warren grilling one of President Trump's Department of Defense nominees, Mr. Tada. Let me tell you folks, this was not a hearing. This was an ambush, plain and simple. Before we dive into the specifics, let's talk about what's really going on here. The Trump administration is attempting to restore order and strength to our military after years of what many of us believe has been an agenda that prioritized politics over readiness. President Trump has the constitutional authority as commander-in-chief to place leaders in the Pentagon who will execute his vision for national security. That's not controversial. That's how our system works. But the left can't stand it when conservatives actually exercise power according to the Constitution. So what happened in this hearing?
Senator, that comment was in response to a CNN article that had credible sources that several admirals and generals were having discussions on how to resist lawful orders from the president, usurping his Article II constitutional authority as commander-in-chief, which I find unacceptable. I think we can all agree that the Constitution of the United States that we swear an oath of office to, that I have done for many times in my career, is the ultimate, penultimate document that we support and that we swear an allegiance to. And so if there were people that were having those conversations, if there were admirals and generals that were having those conversations.
Mr. Tada, I have your tweet here, and your tweet doesn't say, I want to investigate person by person and see what they've done. I also want to make clear that when generals are having conversations about what to do if they receive illegal orders so that they can still follow their obligations under the Constitution of the United States, then they are following the law. They are not breaking the law. But let's go on to what else you have said.
Senator, if I might, the article said controversial, did not say illegal. And so controversial is very subject to interpretation.
I just want to clarify here. You want to say, you want to fire everybody. I've got your tweet here.
I don't want to fire anybody, Senator.
You think they gave controversial statements? I'm sorry, it says before firing them. Mr. Chairman, could I enter this into the record, please? Mr. Tada's tweet.
Is there objection? There being no objection, it is so admitted.
Let me try another one. On November 2024, you posted on X that the Trump administration should choose only leaders who are, quote, all oars in the water to achieve Trump Agenda 47. That suggests that you believe that generals should be picked for loyalty to Donald Trump. Is that right? Is that what you believe?
That is not what I believe, Senator.
Then why did you post this?
Well, I was a private citizen when I posted that, and
So when you were a private citizen, you said things you didn't believe?
As
Still are a private
Agenda
citizen
47,
right now, Mr. Tada.
Senator, let him answer the question.
Senator, I'm respectfully trying to answer your question. Agenda 47 talks about shipbuilding. It talks about the reducing the wars that we engage in. And so as a leader, I support the idea, I support the president's vision that he had in Agenda 47, though, from a foreign policy perspective, and that's what I was referring to.
That is not what this tweet says. Mr. Chairman, may I enter this tweet into the record? Without objection. In January 2025, just 4 months ago, Mr. Tada, you posted on X that planning for President Trump's inauguration should, your word, assume that the National Guard and DoD are, quote, compromised at a minimum by hatred of the incoming administration. What information did you have about each member of the Guard and DoD that caused you not only to draw this conclusion, but to put it out there in public?
Senator, I had no information that
So you just said it about our Guard. You know, competence is based on the experience and performance of a military leader. Evidently, you have no information individually about the generals, the admirals, and the members of our National Guard and DoD who serve this country, and yet you're willing to say that they all need to be fired or treated as traitors. You seem to think that if a general or admiral was promoted during a Democratic administration, that person should be automatically fired. That's just a political purge and a pretty standard move for a dictatorship. I think it disqualifies you for this office.
Thank you.
Senator Warren went after Mr. Tada for tweets he made as a private citizen. Let's break this down. First, she brought up a tweet where Tada suggested reviewing 4-star generals appointed under Biden. Warren framed this as some sort of purge, but let's be honest here. Every administration reviews personnel. The Trump administration has legitimate concerns about military leaders who might resist lawful orders from the commander-in-chief. Think about this. We've had military brass who've been more focused on pronouns and DI initiatives than preparing for the threats from China, Russia, and radical Islamic terrorism. Is it really shocking that the incoming administration would want to ensure our military leaders are aligned with actual defense priorities? Warren tried to paint this as loyalty to Trump versus loyalty to the Constitution. But that's a completely false framing. The real issue is having military leaders who respect the chain of command and the president's constitutional role as commander-in-chief, regardless of whether they personally like his policies. Then Warren attacked Tada over his tweet about getting people who are all oars in the water for Trump's Agenda 47. This is just common sense, folks. Every president needs appointees who will effectively implement their agenda. Agenda 47 includes rebuilding our Navy, ending endless wars, and strengthening our military to deter our adversaries. Why wouldn't we want military leaders who are committed to those goals? But Warren deliberately misinterpreted this as some sort of blind loyalty test. It's not about personal loyalty to Trump. It's about having leaders who believe in America First policies and will implement them effectively instead of slow-walking or undermining them. The most telling moment came when Warren attacked Tada for expressing concerns about potential bias in the DoD and National Guard. Let's remember the context here. We've seen unprecedented politicization of our institutions over the past few years. We've had generals make public political statements against conservative policies. We've seen our military leadership push training that many service members found divisive. We've witnessed the disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal that left Americans behind and handed billions in equipment to the Taliban. Is it really so outlandish to be concerned about institutional resistance to the incoming administration? Tada may have phrased his concerns strongly, but the concerns themselves are legitimate. What's really happening here is that the left doesn't want Trump to have the same authority that every other president has had. They want to hamstring his ability to implement his agenda by portraying every personnel decision as some sort of threat to democracy. The irony is staggering. The same people who talk about threats to democracy are the ones trying to prevent the duly elected president from exercising his constitutional authority. Let's not forget what these Biden-appointed generals have presided over. The catastrophic withdrawal from Afghanistan, lowered recruitment standards while facing a recruitment crisis, the implementation of social policies that many believe have damaged unit cohesion, a military that's been stretched thin while China rapidly expands its capabilities. Is it any wonder that the Trump administration wants new leadership? But instead of discussing these substantive issues, Warren focused on gotcha questions about tweets. The double standard here is mind-blowing. When Obama cleaned house in the Pentagon, the media called it putting his stamp on the military. When Biden pushed out Trump appointees, it was returning to normal. But when Trump wants to review Biden appointees, suddenly it's a threat to democracy and a purge. Folks, this is how they operate. They create rules that only apply to conservatives while giving themselves complete freedom to do exactly what they accuse us of doing. This hearing shows exactly why President Trump's mandate is so important. The administrative state and the political establishment are digging in their heels to resist the will of the American people. Warren didn't approach this hearing as a senator seeking to understand a nominee's qualifications. She approached it as an activist trying to score political points and paint the entire Trump administration as dangerous. Patriots, we need to understand what we're up against. The establishment will use every trick in the book to prevent President Trump from implementing the agenda we elected him to carry out. They'll take tweets out of context. They'll misrepresent reasonable concerns as extremism. They'll claim that exercising constitutional authority is somehow a threat to the Constitution itself. But here's the good news: the American people see through this. That's why President Trump was elected despite unprecedented opposition from the media, big tech, and the political establishment. Mr. Tada deserves to be judged on his qualifications and his commitment to keeping America safe, not on cherry-picked tweets that Warren deliberately misinterpreted for political gain. If you agree that our military needs to get back to its core mission of defending America rather than being a laboratory for social experiments, then stand with us. Share this video, hit that subscribe button, and keep fighting for an America that puts strength, security, and our national interests first. Until next time, this is Right View Nation, where we never apologize for putting America first. God bless you all, and God bless the United States of America.